Hi everyone, this is Iwona, and today I'll show you how to take this photo from here to here. So we're going to add the sky, we're going to add some light rays, some smoke and mist, and I'm going to add some magic into this photo. I hope that you will like it, and let's get started. Before I get started, my name is Iwona. You will find my photos on YouTube and on Instagram and on my website, iwonapodlesinska.com. And one thing that you need to know, all the things that I'll be using during this tutorial, I will link down below, and those are all from my website. So we can have all of those skies, we can have all of those mists and all of those light rays and all the things that I'm using. Okay, I have this photo that was taken actually on during one of my workshops in Poland. If you want to sign up to one of the workshops, go ahead and check them out on my website. I'm going to show you because this is where I actually started. This is my Lightroom part, and so I took this up to here in Lightroom, and you will see the whole tutorial on my website as well. So let's get into Photoshop and let's start with replacing that sky. We're actually going to use edit and sky replacement that is already built into Photoshop. I used to use a different technique, but I think that works just fine. I actually did use the sky that I originally wanted to use just because I just used it a moment ago recording the same thing in Polish. But the thing with that sky replacement is that when you're using that for the first time, the skies that you're getting are one of these. Those do not match the image, of course. We need to have something with a similar light, with a similar color. Not exactly, you can always change the color. So if it's too blue or if it's too yellow, don't worry about that. But with the same light quality. So it was a sunset, you want a sunset sky. If it was a cloudy day, you want a cloudy sky. So in order to get the right sky, you need to go to this little plus sign. And I have some skies on my website that you might like, so you can check them out. And I'm using the sky number 3 right now. So just have to click on this one and I will take it to Photoshop to kind of load it into your libraries, and you can use it from there wherever you want. So I'm going to find that sky again. I think it was this one. And before you click that OK button, stop here for a moment, because this is the part where you can play a little with those sliders to adjust the sky so it kind of fits your image. What I like to do is take that edge lighting down so it doesn't create this kind of like an edge around the trees. And I like to play a little with edge fade, because I feel like it's usually when the sky is closer to the horizon line, it's a little brighter. So it looks more natural to me if that edge lighting and is a little up. And you can scale this up a little. If you find that it doesn't fit your image, you can flip the whole sky. Again, it's up to you, whatever you want to do here. And just play with those sliders a little before you click that OK sign, because you might just adjust it and it may just look way better after doing so. So click OK, and that gave us a whole sky replacement group here in those layers. And you don't need to do anything specific with that, apart from the fact that I sometimes go and click on that sky and I go to filter and blur and Gaussian blur, because I feel sometimes those clouds are just too sharp, too visible. They should be more blurred than the trees that I see in the background, because obviously they were further away. So I like to blur the sky a tiny bit here, and I think that looks great already. And I'm going to use another one of my overlays, which is the one that I think I use the most, and I think this is actually my best seller on my website, because I'm not surprised because I use it all the time. So I'm going to click the star number 3 and put it in here, make it a little bigger. And as with every overlay on my website, what you need to do is go here where it says normal, those are blending modes, and change the blending mode from normal to screen. Once you do it, you can just change the size and place it wherever you want. I like to place it just on the edge of like some kind of trees because it looks more natural. If you place it over here, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't look natural, just because if you were taking actually a photo and the sky and the sun was that high up on the horizon, it would be impossible to actually have it in your photo because the whole area would be blown. Whilst when the sun is just hitting the edge or the horizon line, it can be actually visible in your photo. So that's why I like to put it like this. But I feel like this one is too white, and I like to tweak those a little in Camera Raw. And the reason why I use Camera Raw is that I just find it the easiest, but you can use whatever you want. If you have other ways to change colors and brightness in Photoshop, just do your usual way. I'll show you how I do it. So I go to Filter, Camera Raw, and I add some temperature to make it that really nice and yellowish color. You can add some tint if you want to make it a little more pink yellow. And I can also go down with exposure to make it smaller or bigger. I think I'm gonna go a little lower, and that gives me that really nice warm shine just on the edge. And I was thinking that there are some other kind of underestimated stars that I don't see people using that much, but I feel like this should get a little more attention. So star number 7 is something that looks a little like small at the beginning, but you can make it way bigger. Just don't worry, it looks like a whole bunch of pixels, but it doesn't really matter right now because once you click OK, it's going to smooth out. And again, we need to put it into the screen mode, and that gives us like two light rays, but they are very sharp. So we're going to blur them using Filter, Blur, and Gaussian Blur. And that gives that beautiful kind of like light ray coming through. And I'm going to actually lower down the opacity of that because I feel like it's a little too much. Yeah, it looks awesome. Now I'm going to add some birds in the sky again, another one of my overlays. Now just go to birds, and those are easier to use because this is already a PNG file, so there is no background. You don't need to go to, you don't need to change the blending mode with this one, although I sometimes do change it to multiply, just because if you zoom in you can see the white edges of the bird's wings, and I go to multiply to get rid of that white edge and just see the background. Of course, this is not the placement that I want to have. I want to move them, and I actually want them to be flying into the image, not outside. So I'm going to click Command plus T. That's going to take me to the transform mode, and then I can just flip them around. There's a little thingy here that flips the image so much easier than it used to be, and then I just place it. So there are a couple of things that are not right with those birds yet, because they are way too sharp. They should be far away, so we shouldn't be able to see that much detail or sharp edge. And they seem also to be just too dark. So we're going to change with blurring them. So I'm gonna go to Blur and Gaussian Blur, and well, you don't need to have like, you don't want to have like blobs of like black things. You still want to see birds. So that's too much, and that's too little. So, okay. And I like to also go and change the opacity, just lower it down so they kind of blend in more with the sky and that I don't stand out so much, especially that if they were actually far away. There should be some kind of atmosphere between us and them, and there should be like not very, like the colors, the contrast should not be that high. And I was thinking like, let's add something like a smoke, like a mist. Maybe if the car was actually running, there should be kind of like some kind of smoke coming from behind the car, and just something completely additional, but I want to add it so I can show you a few techniques you can use with your own photos. So let's start with a smoke mist one, and I'm going to use maybe number 5. And I'm going to place it in here so it kind of looks like that. Let's just You know what? Actually, I'm going to turn it around and place it over here. And I'm going to click OK. And this is one of those JPEG files that you need to change the blending mode to screen. I'm going to place it over here. And there is this white line on the edge that we want to get rid of. So let's take a mask. If you don't know masks on layers in Photoshop, I have a video for you that I link down below in the description box. And I'm going to use a black brush and basically brush out the edges of that. Make sure that you're using your flow to like something like 20, maybe 30, 40, not 100%. It's going to be very, very difficult for you to make it nice and smooth and make the edge of your brush invisible. So there's one thing that is kind of like going on the boy, which we don't want. We want this to be like behind the boy and behind the car. So the thing is that we need to kind of select the boy and select the car and then paint black. So when we have the selection active and we paint anything, then we're painting only with inside the selection. I want to select the car and select the boy and then paint with a brush just to paint only in that selection, and then you basically remove that from the boy. So if you did not understand, just bear with me. Okay, so I'm gonna go to layer 0 where the boy actually is and the car is. Because if you are on, it's going to select, but you're going to select from the layer that is active. If you are on a different layer, it just wouldn't be able to see the pixels that you want to select. And I like to use a quick selection tool because I find it easiest. And I'm just going to click on the boy. I place it on the boy. I'm just basically moving my mouse around and just waiting for Photoshop to find the edges and basically select for me. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to the layer mask with that smoke and I'm going to paint on the boy. See how I'm just painting on the boy and on the car where the selection was. I'm not painting on the mist or the smoke that was just next to the boy. I'm going to click Command and D to deselect, Command or Control D to deselect. And again, that mist smoke seems to be too blue for this image. So the same thing again, just click on the mask, make sure that you're not on the mask, but you are on the layer. So make sure that you click on the layer and go to Camera Raw. And then we're going to change the temperature, go with temperature up, and we're done. You know what? One thing that kind of like grabs my attention, that the mist smoke should be kind of like behind the boy. The boy was in focus, that should be a little out of focus. So I'd like to go again to filter, blur, and blur it just a little so it kind of like looks more natural, like it was actually behind the boy, not in front of him. And I think I'm gonna drop down the opacity a little so it's not that obvious. So I kind of blend it a little better. I'm going to now show you what we've done here. We just click Command and G. And this is the sky replacement group. And yeah, so that's what we did. First, we replaced the sky and then we have it ready. Yeah, I think that's an awesome effect. And this is how it would look after I finish up this in a Lightroom with a little bit of my extra tweaks on the details and sharpness and so on. So if you want to see the full tutorial, just make sure that you check on my website under for photographers. You will find tutorials and you'll find this video, full video, including the Lightroom part in it. So I hope that you liked it. Remember, I took it during the workshop, and if you want to be a part of the workshop or if you want to take a similar photo and edit with me, hand by hand, sign into one of my workshops. I will be in Europe and USA, maybe Canada. You will see on my website where you can find me and sign in, let me know. Contact me if you have any questions. Leave a comment down below to let me know what you want to see on this channel coming up in the next videos. I will see you next time. Bye.